Count them. Earlier, I spoke with the chairman of that committee, Congressman Darrell Issa. All right, Chairman Darrell Issa, thanks for being with us today. I understand that you recently said that Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius, if she cannot reorganize and get the kind of team that we need to fix this Obamacare website, that she shouldn't be there. Are you asking for her resignation?
Judge, when you've had 3.5 years, $600 million to execute on the president's signature legislation, and it's this wrong, you've got to ask who is going to be held responsible, and is somebody who couldn't even answer whether there were shutdowns on the site as shutdowns were going on yesterday, is she really the person to do it? You understand that this website is the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more that has to be seen, that has to be fixed in Obamacare, and she may not be the person to do it.
Congressman, apparently this administration was warned repeatedly by the contractors that the website was not ready to go live on October 1, at the same time that the administration is looking Congress in the eye and the president is looking at the American people and saying this is going to be the best thing since sliced bread. And why didn't they heed the warnings of the contractors?
You know, Management 101 says bring the boss a problem so they can be part of the fix. In this case, the president and the vice president now are on record saying 7 weeks out, everything was okay is what they were told, and they even tried using the site at one point. But we know from documents obtained from the contractors that 3 and 4 weeks out, they were issuing very, very stern warnings of particular areas of vulnerability related to speed and the things that you and I have been able to see live. But by the way, they were also about the question of testing for secure information that may, as we speak, be being released to the bad guys.
Right. This is his signature legislation. This will be supposedly the crowning star of his legacy, and yet there is so much uncertainty and so much mismanagement, and I guess that's why you recently sent a request for information from QSSI, one of the main contractors. You subpoenaed information after they refused to voluntarily give you information. What do you expect to get from them?
Well, we expect to get the internal documents as to who knew and who was covering up these failures. We've gotten documents from 10 of the 11 major vendors, and we hope to get it from QSSI. But more importantly, Judge, our obligation, even if we don't like this law, is to at least protect the American people and their confidential information and their right to have access as best we can. And that's what we're attempting to do, even with an administration that continues to be very opaque.
Mr. Chairman, I sat in the Energy and Commerce hearing, and I heard Secretary Sebelius testify, and one of the questions put to her was whether or not they were going to continue to pay QSSI to fix what they never made right in the first place, and her response was, well, we can't deal with that right now. You know, we have to look forward and not look to blame people. This seems to be the argument every time something happens in this administration, from Benghazi, and now again, we're going to fix it. We're not looking to assign blame, but the American taxpayers are being given the bill to correct something that is wrong and shouldn't be paid for in the first place.
Your Honor, absolutely. There's no question, Judge, that we're going to, in the period after November 30th, be asking how much money needs to come back, who's to be held accountable. I almost want to, at some peril, say, if I were managing this, I would be more important with fixing it than trying to figure out how to get small amounts of dollars back by comparison to the $600 million we've spent for something that doesn't work.
I disagree with you somewhat in that this is the United States government. We are talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. If I can go on Amazon and order a book or anything else, a sweeper, why can't the United States government say there should be a penalty in the contract if you're not done on time? And Sebelius says, no, there was no penalty in the contract. I mean, it's like amateur hour down there.
Well, she may or may not be right. We've requested and received 10 out of 11 contracts, and we have a subpoena out for QSSI's contract. We're going to get to the bottom of what the clauses are and how we can hold them accountable. But just to give you an example of how bad this is, in the first 6 years of eBay being a huge site with countless numbers of people doing commerce on there, very complex, a bidding process, in those entire first 6 years, they did not spend $600 million. This is an amazing expenditure of money for what, by comparison to eBay, is a pretty simple website. And
I have to tell you, Mr. Chairman, my background as a prosecutor tells me that these are contracts, if they are indeed no-bid contracts, that need to be looked at. Relationships need to be looked at, because it's often all about the money and the contacts. Anyway,
absolutely, and we will.
Well, I'm sure you will, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Judge.
And coming up, millions of Americans dropped from their health care. You won't believe one single mom